you have a feed?
I do, yeah.
Perfect. What time are we on?
9 minutes.
Lovely. I've got no presenters yet.
Yeah, they're on their way over.
Great.
And again, we'll start with a single on Erin, and then we'll come out on cue after our first couple of paragraphs.
Roger that.
And can you just make sure Erin gets mic on channel 1, please?
Yep, copy.
just letting you know I'm back on the camera now. I had to go grab some batteries for bench cam. Yep. That way. Other way. Perfect. No worries. Yeah, sorry, mate.
Jake, just open up one if you can, please.
How's that look?
Go back. 30 to it. Yeah, that's good.
Copy.
15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll V.
Good afternoon. Plymouth Argyle and Queen's Park Rangers reignite their rivalry this lunchtime. Dating back to 1903, the history of both clubs has been punctuated by massive fixtures against each other, and today is no exception. The last three matches between these sides have ended in a draw, but Argyle naturally will have their sights set on a first league win in 12 games and a first under new head coach Miron Muslic. A massive afternoon in store then, and all the action is coming your way live here on Argyle TV. Hello, good afternoon. I am Erin Black, and thank you for joining us here on Matchday Live this afternoon, where Argyle once again go in search of a much needed 3 points. Tuesday night's draw still leaves Argyle 3 points from safety and without a win since November, early November in fact. Could today be the day that they kick off a nice start to the point we're at in the season? Well, you'll be able to find out as you watch along with us, because as always, Argyle TV is the place to be for all of the action, and Queen's Park Rangers are the focus this afternoon as they pay us a visit down here in the West Country at Home Park. Your match passes, both audio and video, are available to purchase over on our website. You want to head over to pafc.co.uk to get all of the details for that. You've got about half an hour now until the match starts, so don't miss it. And I'm pleased to say that joining me over the next 30 minutes is former Argyle and England defender Gemma Rose. Thank you, Gemma. Come in. How are you feeling about the game today? Because it's pretty cold now that we're outside.
It is really cold. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. Definitely a massive opportunity for us to hopefully push on now, especially with our new manager here, having a few more days to settle in.
Yeah.
Hopefully to start instill his style of play as well.
Here he is. Gemma was just getting into a nice new intro, but you have arrived, so go on. No, do you want to do your prediction quickly while we've got you here, Pete? Yeah, Argyle 2-0. Okay. Respect it. Thank you very much. You know, always is the way. He comes in right when you're in the middle of your flow. Back to what you were saying, Gemma, like how important it is for Argyle to get a win today.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, it's definitely a massive game for us, and I think we don't need to keep saying it. I think that the players are professional footballers, like they know it's a massive game. They know that we need to start winning, obviously, matches. They know the situation that we are in. We're obviously at the bottom of the table. We need to start turning our draws now into 3 points and pushing on and gaining a bit of momentum for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I mean, you'd like to think that having a nice little run of home games is kind of going to push things a little bit more in Argyle's favour. I mean, you know, we chatted on the breakfast show earlier, almost dropped the iPad, about when you were a player, and you know, travelling does take it out of you, doesn't it? Maybe whether you realise it or not.
Yeah, I mean, especially a key word I've just spoken about is gaining momentum, and I think it's a big opportunity for us to start gaining that momentum through obviously a run of lost my headphone.
It's all
through a run of home fixtures, and I think if and when we get our 3 points today, it will give us obviously a good position to start obviously putting our performances and pushing higher up the table, like we said. But yeah, it's in terms of like the psychological mindset, it's a different mindset playing at home in comparison to being on the coach travelling 3 or 4 hours to get to an away fixture. So it's definitely a better environment for us to be in. I think a few seasons ago, I think teams absolutely were terrified to come to home park and play fixtures, and we need to start creating that environment again, and today's a massive opportunity for us to do that.
Yeah, and I suppose as each game goes on as well, Miron Muslic will be able to put his stamp on the club a bit more. I mean, we have seen him on Tuesday, but he only had, you know, a couple of days really at the helm of the club. So hopefully, as time goes on, we'll actually be able to see a bit more of whatever his vision is for the team.
Yeah, like we spoke about, he's not had too long at the club, so it's going to take a while for him to obviously stamp the way in which he wants the players to play. But what he can change is the mindset towards players, and hopefully we can see that in today's game. He wants players to play with obviously conviction. He wants players to put their body on the line and obviously play front foot football as well. And again, it's a massive opportunity for us to show that and showcase that today.
Yeah, I mean, I think he said, you know, in one of his opening videos to the club about how he used to coach one of the most physical teams in his previous league. So I think that's certainly something he's going to want to bring to Argyle. So let's have a look at the 11 he has chosen to make the cut then for this afternoon's game. Your Argyle starting 11 look a little bit like this. We have Daniel Grimshaw in goal, Bali Mumba, Julio Plegathuelo, Ryan Hardy, Morgan Whitaker, Timotheus Puach, Darko JB, Adam Randall, Rami Al-Haj, Michael Baidoo and Victor Palson. And on the bench for Argyle, Zach Baker, Nathaniel Ogbetter, Jordan Houghton, Ibrahim Sissoko, Callum Wright, Mustafa Bundu, Matthew Sorinola, Caleb Roberts and Freddie Isaka. A few changes there. One of the notable ones, Gemma, I suppose, we've got Ryan Hardy back in the starting 11. I know he's had a shoulder injury for a while, and it's a 4-3-2-1 that they're actually going to play this afternoon. So what do you make of that setup based on, you know, the players you're seeing in front of you?
I mean, I think we were forced into a few changes, obviously based on a few injuries that we've picked up, especially defensive injuries we picked up. So he's had to go over back 4. I think in press conferences before he has spoke about the fact he does like to play a back 3. But I think today is a really important game for Randall to provide a bit of security to the back 4, to make sure he's doing his job, sitting in front of the back 4 and adding that extra security as well in terms of his defensive responsibilities. In terms of Hardy being back in the team, we know that Hardy's a goal scorer. I think recently he's had a bit of a poor run of form, but hopefully today, being back in the team, he can hopefully get himself on the score sheet, which also allows Baidoo hopefully to play in behind him as well, when we can see a bit more from him today. Yeah,
because I think we saw Baidoo in that number 9 position on the last time out, which maybe is one that he's, you know, is his preference. So now we may see him in a position where he's able to do a little bit more perhaps, and then support Hardy where he naturally goes.
Yeah, I think he's spoken before about the fact that he does play in the number 9, but he is more comfortable in the number 10. He's a creative player. He likes to get in between the lines. He likes to turn and face up and play through balls. And again, he will be in a situation today where he can do that for Hardy, because Hardy's a player that likes to run in behind. So hopefully Baidoo can pick the ball up in the pockets and play through balls, and fingers crossed Hardy gets on the end of one today.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to talk about Puach as well, because he was player of the match on our weekday game, new signing, quite a strong, powerful player by the looks of it. He really did give it his all the other night.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a lot of experience. He's got international experience under his belt as well. He plays international football. He seems to be a bit of a leader as well, physicality-wise. I think today is going to be really important. We know that QPR are really a physical team. They like to dominate the ball. They like to, in terms of their physicality as well, off the ball, they like to get stuck in. And he seems like he is that type of player. He's not scared of a tackle. But we also seen his quality in terms of from wide areas as well against Oxford, his ability to play balls into the box, where obviously Al Haj against Oxford got on the end of one. Yeah. So fingers crossed we see him in those positions today. It will be difficult, it will be different in terms of playing a back four, but fingers crossed again, it will be fine, and he'll get himself in those positions because he's more than capable of doing that. Yeah, I mean,
he seems to have, enjoyed his time so far from what we've seen, so hopefully he's got a lot more to give this afternoon. We've also got Dan Grimshaw back in goal again with Zach Baker on the bench. We know, of course, Hazard recovering from an injury, so it's interesting, the choices that you can make in goal, or the lack of choices sometimes you have based on, the injuries that the club has seen quite a lot of this season.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely been unfortunate with injuries this season, and we've been forced into making some changes that probably in other seasons we wouldn't have wanted to make. But it's really important today that Grimshaw does command his 18-yard box. We know that QPR are a massive threat from set pieces. They think they've scored 9 set pieces this season. Yeah. So he needs to make sure he's coming out, punching crosses, claiming crosses, and just being a bit more of a leader as well and dominating the 18-yard box.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at our opposition then. Queen's Park Rangers didn't have a game midweek, so they've had a little bit more time to prepare for this afternoon's game, and they are made up of the following: Paul Nardi, Jimmy Dunn, Sam Field, Elias Chair, Paul Smith, Michael Frey, Morgan Fox, Ronnie Edwards, Kieran Morgan, Kenneth Parle, Jonathan Verrain, and on their bench, Joe Walsh, Jack Colback, Jake Clark-Salter, Goki Sato, Harrison Ashby, Nicholas Madsen, Ryan Colley, Daniel Benny, and Alfie Lloyd. Gemma, when we did the breakfast show earlier, you and Aaron did a little bit of analysis and looked at some of the QPR players. When you look at that, what are the talking points that you think people need to know about?
I think 3 key talking points we need to speak about in terms of the defensive responsibilities. They've always got Jimmy Dunn playing centre-back for them. Key player for them this season. I think he scored 4 goals from set pieces. As well, we spoke a bit about in terms of his ability to throw long balls into the box as well, so making sure that we limit in throw-ins in and around our defensive third, so when we're clearing the ball, making sure we're clearing for distance, and just making sure that we've got a really dominant player probably marking him in the box as well to make sure he doesn't get on the end of a set piece. I think another player we need to be aware of is probably Sam Field as well, the holding midfielder. He does like to get stuck in, but as well he's really good at playing through balls in behind, so making sure that we get on him and we don't allow him to have time on the ball. And then finally we spoke about Michael Frey, the number 9. I think he's scored 5 goals this season. I think looking at his stats earlier, I think he scored 2 with his left foot, 2 with his right and 1 with his head. Yeah. So he shows his versatility in terms of his ability to score goals, so he's clinical. So just making sure we limit as many chances as we can for him.
Yeah. I mean, we were looking at Dembele earlier, but they are actually still without Dembele. So we don't need to worry about that at least. But you mentioned Jimmy Dunn, of course, their defender. He's got 4 goals already this season, which I suppose maybe you wouldn't necessarily put hand in hand with a defender. So it kind of makes him a threat in more ways than one.
It does, yeah. And I think he's a key player that we need to make sure we're marking from set pieces. We need to make sure potentially we've even got 2 players marking him from set pieces. I think today our main thing we need to focus on is to make sure we don't concede, and if that starts from set pieces, we make sure we are tight, we're tidy from set pieces, we're marking in the box, we're doing our jobs right, and we limit them to as many chances as we possibly can. Yeah,
I mean, when you look at their set pieces, I think 9 of their total goals have actually come from set plays, and they're very dominant in the air as well. Like when you look back to your time as a player, if you're coming up against a side where that is like an area of expertise, of specialism, how much do you have to change, the way you practice for the game to tackle something like that?
I think it's definitely something that you need to practice in training leading up to the game, and it's definitely something that the team will be aware of. But looking at the way that we like to play, we like to get the ball down, we like to play possession-based football. I think if we look at a statistic from the game against Oxford Tuesday, I think we made over 450 passes. It just shows that statistically we like to keep the ball, we like to maintain possession and work our way up the pitch. And I think as well, the players that we have got, we don't really have that aerial dominance, so we like to keep the ball down, we like to create chances that way. So if we do that, then in terms of our attacking capabilities, we'll obviously put ourselves in a good situation. But obviously aerially, we need to make sure we're winning our aerial battles, and we're up for a fight today, really.
Yeah. I mean, we know Masic wants to see Argyle higher up the pitch and kind of taking the game to the opposition. This one may be slightly more of a challenge than others, but we'll have to see how it goes. We rewind for him. Miran Muslic got his first taste of the home park crowd here on Tuesday night, so he's hoping that the players can take that next step and get their first victory here today in 2 months.
Miran, you had your first experience of home park at a match day just a couple of days ago, and as is this time of the season, we've got another game coming in just a few days' time. So, looking ahead to Saturday, how are you feeling about it?
Very good and very confident, because I saw also the lads now the last 2 days in the training, and it was very good. I was very pleased what I saw. Good energy, good focus, a good desire to take the next step, and we have also the possibility Saturday already.
Yeah. So one training session before Tuesday, but you've had a couple in already, and of course there's still another day to go. How much information are you putting on them at this stage? Because it is still all new, isn't it, I suppose?
A lot of things are new. That's why I'm very, very safe in terms of information. I don't want to overload them. I want to simplify the game. The situation is challenging enough for us anyway. Imagine none coming up and showing up with a million of ideas. You can only overload them. But we want to give them stability, clarity, a good structure. And from there on we can move. And this is exactly what we also tried as staff over the last 2 days to get this structure better. And with this structure, we will be more and more competitive, more and more safe, and then we can go and challenge QPR.
Yeah, you mentioned after the game on Tuesday night about the things that you saw in the game that you were encouraged by, and you were like, yep, we can definitely build on this sort of thing. How confident are you that you've seen that continue over the last couple of days and can go into Queen's Park Rangers in a similar vein?
Very much, because simply the lads showed us also. They are ready to show us the passion, the commitment. We will also need to challenge QPR. This is a good team, no doubt, with a good run also, very structured in all phases of the game. But we also have enough quality to challenge them. And if we can do our things right, we will also create a lot of troubles for QPR. And this is also the plan, to go outside, to challenge, to compete, to give the best possible performance and to win the game.
Our new head coach talking there about Tuesday's game. You know, we said earlier, Gemma, it's kind of a bit too early at this stage to know exactly how he's going to affect the team. He's spoken about what he wants from them. He wants to see a bit more, you know, physicality. He certainly wants to see them higher up the pitch, and he did stress after Tuesday's game he wants to see them be more effective going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take a while for him to instill those expectations, especially from a more of a tactical aspect. But we spoke about it briefly on the breakfast show this morning, but what he can change is the mindset for players instantly. I think there will be a bit more of a sense of optimism around the players, optimism around the club. And he is in a really difficult situation. We are bottom of the table, but we do have an opportunity now to push on and start building our performance, and today is a massive opportunity for us to do that.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to take a look later on throughout the game at one of the interviews we did on the breakfast show with Andrew Parkinson, where Andrew kind of spoke about the reason they chose him as the head coach was because of his attitude towards where Argyle currently are in the table, and his kind of seeming ability to be able to thrive under that pressure, because it's quite high stakes to come in halfway through a season as a foreign manager to a new club in a league that you've never been in before and have the confidence in yourself and your team to get them out of the relegation zone, because that is the task at hand.
Yeah, I mean, and it seems as though he's thriving from the opportunity. He seems to be buzzing around the club, like he knows it's going to be a challenge, but he's willing to take on the challenge, and he sees it as a challenge for him as a coach now, to come in from obviously a club in a different country, to come into England in the Championship, which is one of the toughest leagues in England. And he's probably in one of the most difficult situations as well, but he knows what he wants from the club, he knows what he wants from the players, and it is going to take time. But he's definitely seems as though he's a coach that can make those changes. I'm really excited to see what he can do here at Argyle.
He seems quite cool and calm under pressure. I think the benefit at the moment is that he's experienced this first game on Tuesday at home. We've got today at home as well, and then next week. And I mean, I'm sure you can see behind Gemma and I that, you know, Home Park is filling up with all of the Green Army here. It's getting nice and noisy now. Like, if that's not an atmosphere to kind of bolster you and spur you on, I don't know what is.
Yeah, like I said, it just seems like everyone is starting to get behind him. From his press conferences, he seems likeable. And I feel like in this day and age of coaching as a manager, you need to be likeable, you need to be a bit more relatable to the players as well. You look at the most successful managers, you've got Jurgen Klopp for obviously Liverpool last season. One of the reasons he was so successful was obviously because he's an excellent manager, but also the way that he is with players. He's likeable, he's approachable, players want to play under him, and it seems as though that's what we're going to get from our new manager, and hopefully we're excited to see what he can bring to Argyle.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll certainly be looking forward to see what he does. And really, QPR boss Marty Cifuentes was in a similar position to our own Mislic last season, coming in and tasked with guiding them to safety. He, of course, has done that pretty well and has them 8 points above the relegation zone at the minute. They did lose their last game against Leicester in the FA Cup, and Cifuentes is looking to bounce back from that.
And a new man in the dugout at Plymouth. You've had the opportunity of seeing his team in action once during the week, so it's not completely blind in terms of preparation, but early indications are it's a very different style of play that Plymouth will be adopting. How are you preparing for this?
Yeah, certainly we have been looking, and I have a fantastic staff around me that has been looking as well at the job, especially in Belgium, where he was coaching for years. So we try to see what were the traits, even though now he's in a new club, new competition, and actually he probably had not a lot of trainings, a lot of time to implement his style, but we can see that there is always this energy boost for the players, for the supporters. They got a positive result probably in a tough game against Oxford. They got this win before, just after it was announced his arrival in the cup against the Premier League side. So definitely it will be a challenging game, but we need to be ready for different scenarios. That's what we do. Always focus on ourselves, but be aware that the position as well can change things. And in that sense, I have full confidence in my squad and in my players to understand where the priorities for this game.
And Plymouth at home are certainly a different proposition, aren't they? They're in a difficult league position, but they've only lost one of their last 10 at Home Park.
Yeah, it's true that the performance level and the results have been extremely different. When they play away, certainly they have not been picking positive results, but actually at home they have been really strong. So we know that is one of their strengths. They probably feel good, and as I said, with a new manager, this will be a challenging game. So I think that it will be a mistake to look at the table and expect that this will be an easy game, because it will not be. I had the experience of last season going down there. It's a long travel, it's a long trip, and yeah, all those small things. Early kickoff. No one is a big fan of early kickoff, especially when we play away in a long trip. So all those things is something that we as a staff, the players, everyone needs to be aware that we need to deliver our best level if we want to get the 3 points.
Well, QPR have been pretty solid so far this season. Of course, I have to be careful what I say because the away end is right next to me and Gemma here. They're 11 points clear of Argyle, but having said that, they've only won one of their last 10 away games. So it's a nice statistic to have in the back pocket when you come into a Home Park game this afternoon.
Yeah, most definitely. I think from the table we can see as well, the average conceding 1 goal a game as well. So they're not unbeatable. They might be mid-table. I think they're about 13th in the table, but they're definitely beatable today. It's going to be a challenge for us, but something that I'm hoping the players are thriving off today, and hopefully we can get 3 points and come away with our win.
I mean, we know what it's like to kind of be dubbed as a team that doesn't travel well, which I think, you know, QPR have built up a slight reputation for at the minute. When you've got to, you know, go away and you know you're looking for a win, which finally we got at Brentford, but you know we are still looking in some ways.
Yeah, and fortunately for us, obviously they conceded 6 goals in that last match.
That's a big bounce back, that.
Yes, so it shows that they do concede goals, against a different team, a Premiership opposition, but we do have players in the team that are capable of scoring goals. And today is a massive opportunity and a really big game for us to show that, and to, like I keep saying, because I really need it to happen, come away with our 3 points, start pushing us on, start gaining a bit of momentum, and start pushing us up that table.
Yeah, that's definitely what we want to see. It's what Musulic wants to see, and I think it's certainly what you want to see at home. And we are now just under 10 minutes away from kickoff, so let's begin our final preparations before the whistle blows. We're pretty much ready to get going here for you on Argyle TV. So just a very quick reminder finally that you haven't got your match passes already, head over to the website. That's the place to get them, pafc.co.uk. There are both audio and video match passes available, and it will be Charlie Price and Mark Edworthy doing your commentary this afternoon. Thank you, Gemma. We'll be back at halftime. Argyle v QPR is up next.